It's been a couple of days since I posted on the channel, so I thought the best video back would be talking about a range of topics, and in today's video we're going to continue my Today in College Football series as we will go through the 5 biggest topics of the past 24 hours. It's pretty obvious, as we have 2 commitments to talk about. A coach was fired, efforts were made to create a new college football program, and a big-time college football star is going to miss some time with injury. But right before we get into it, we are less than 5,000 subscribers away from 100K, so quickly be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to support today's video, turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload, and let me know what player, topic, team, or situation I could cover next. Now, let's talk about Today in College Football, Wednesday, November 9th. So the first topic I want to talk about is New Orleans football. They are a very small school, obviously located in the city of New Orleans, and they have a basketball team and a couple of other small sports, but a few months ago, the athletic director had a crazy idea. He wanted to start college football there. He said, quote, "We're the public university. The name of New Orleans is on our chest. We're named after that city, so we think it's our responsibility to have the venues that multiple groups from the community can participate in." That was their athletic director's statement about the new stadium and the program, but fun fact, only them and Texas A&M Corpus Christi are the only 2 schools in the Southland that do not currently have a football program. They wanted to bring a new stadium to the area, said that research could also help boost enrollment. They said that schools that didn't have a football team that added one between 2009 and 2013 saw a huge jump in undergraduate enrollment at nearly 38%. So not only would it be great to have another college football team, but it could also help the school. They're located in a pretty big city, have a great climate, and have access to big-time recruiting grounds in the state of Louisiana. It probably would work. It sounded good on paper, but they'd have to ask students to pay. If you were a full-time student, you'd be asked to pay $400, and if you're part-time, you'd be asked to pay $300. This would go to the new stadium and a couple of other sports, and today they decided on the vote. While some students were extremely pumped at the idea of football coming to the privateers program, others were not, as the overwhelming vote was that it was not going to happen. 70% of students said they didn't want it, and only 30% were in favor. It wasn't just a football move though. The fee would have also provided funding for women's soccer, women's golf, a marching band, and many other student activities. Unfortunately though, football is not going to be happening, and it is probably going to be because students don't have money. Most of them are either in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, or rely on money from their parents. So the fact that you'd be asking them to pay money for the football program just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The athletic director said, quote, "The students have spoken. I personally still believe there will be a day when privateer football will happen, and I look forward to the gratifying feeling of laying the foundation for that successful endeavor." Ultimately, this is sad. I would love for there to be a new college football program, but the idea of asking students for money was just dumb. I'm sure there's some big booster or some big guy in the area who could have paid for it, but as of right now, New Orleans football is no longer going to be a thing, and this is a sad day for privateer football hopefuls. We now get to our first piece of recruiting news. Carson Hobbs is a part of the 2024 recruiting class, and he had plenty of time to figure out his recruitment, but last night he decided to end it. Coming from Archbishop Muller High School in Cincinnati, Ohio, Hobbs got a ton of early big-time offers, but he has decided to go with Notre Dame. After Notre Dame's spectacular win against Clemson this past Saturday, many expected recruiting to go back on the uptick and for faith to be restored in Freeman in the program. Hobbs decided to commit 4 days after his visit there, and this comes as no surprise. He was offered September 14th by the staff, but he was already committed to a school at the time. He was committed to South Carolina, and it did seem like a great fit when he chose them. He said, quote, "I feel like for my dreams and to get to where I want to be, I think coming to South Carolina will be my best bet, and coming to play in the SEC under Coach Torian Gray. Seeing all the people that Gray has sent to the NFL, it was sort of a no-brainer. This is where I want to be." At the time, he originally chose South Carolina over Akron, Kentucky, Marshall, and West Virginia. When the Irish came calling, he couldn't resist for multiple reasons. He obviously decided to commit to Notre Dame and said, quote, "It's a dream come true. I've always wanted to play under the bright lights on Saturday nights with Notre Dame. I've got a bunch of jerseys, and I've been going to games since I was a little kid. I'm super excited for the opportunity, and I take it as a blessing." He also credits the coaching staff and Marcus Freeman, and right now, Hobbs is listed as the number 42 corner in the nation, and is a 3-star recruit. I'm near certain his stock is going to continue to rise, and if not, he will be a hidden gem. The next thing we're going to talk about is the firing of Jeff Scott. Yes, this is a couple of days old, but I wanted to quickly cover this. Jeff Scott played wide receiver at Clemson from 2000 to 2002 and immediately went into coaching. After a year at high school and a year at Presbyterian, he arrived at Clemson, where he was the wide receivers coach, a recruiting coordinator, and a co-offensive coordinator. He was at Clemson from 2008 to 2019, was credited with good recruiting, being a good up-and-coming coach, and someone that was ready to take over a program. That's why, after the Charlie Strong era, USF put faith in the coach Scott and made him their guy. Unfortunately, though, it has been rough sledding for Jeff Scott. In 2020, the team went 1-8 with an 0-7 conference record. In 2021, they went 2-10 with a 1-7 conference record. The first 2 years of the Scott era were absolutely horrific, but to be fair, they were put in a tough situation. It looked like Scott was going to get an opportunity to prove himself. Except in 2022, he's made pretty much no strides. His biggest get was probably the transfer of Gary Bohannon from Baylor, but the team is currently 1-8 with an 0-5 record. It got to the point where USF was not favored in any games, they're pretty much non-competitive, and in a crucial time of conference realignment, USF has shriveled up under the leadership of Jeff Scott, and he was relieved of his duties this past Sunday. I'm not quite sure what's up for him next, but he is young and has some experience, so he'll likely hop on to another staff, but USF needs to strike gold on their next coaching hire, or they're going to be headed towards irrelevance even more. We're now going to get to our next flip, and we're going to be talking about Colton Vasek. His father, Brian, played for the Texas Longhorns back in the day, so when he eventually blew up in the high school world, Texas was going to be a major option for him. He became a star for Texas powerhouse high school Austin Westlake, and was actually named the defensive MVP of the 2021 6A division title game. He'd have 3 sacks in their victory, and schools from all around the country wanted him. He took all 5 of his official visits, but he originally decided to commit to Coach Venables at Oklahoma, and this was going to be his future home. Except, after a few visits and time to think, Vasek was starting to have a change of heart, and after spending time with Arch Manning for the Iowa State-Texas game a few weeks ago, he knew he was going to flip. He said, quote, "I grew up a UT fan my entire life, and when I went to go see the OU Texas game as an OU recruit, it just didn't really feel right to me at all. Deep down, I wanted to be playing for the team wearing burnt orange. The dismantling that Texas gave Oklahoma on the field probably didn't help the Sooners either, but now he has decided to flip to the Longhorns, and this was a huge get." He said, quote, "The staff, winning culture, and tradition of Texas were the reasons for my commitment. Everything about Texas stands out to me. Currently, he is the second top 200 edge rusher to commit to the Longhorns, and scouts are saying he is the prototype player to become a big name at Texas. According to 24/7 Sports Composite, he's a 4-star recruit, the number 17 edge rusher, and the 127th best player in the class of 2023. Between 2 arch rivals, Texas just stole a star player away from Norman, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to do in the next few years. But for now, this is a big win for Texas, and the trajectory of the program continues to go in a positive direction." Finally, our last piece of news is a big-time injury in college football. Coastal Carolina is currently 8-1, and they still have a big-time bowl game opportunity ahead of themselves if they could finish undefeated. Except that might be a little bit more difficult now, as Grayson McCall is likely out for the rest of the regular season. After hurting his foot against Appalachian State, Jamie Chadwell said in a press conference that he will miss 3 to 6 weeks, and this not only hurts Coastal Carolina, but hurts the sport. McCall is a likely NFL draft prospect, so we won't be able to see him play the last few games at Coastal, and he has been terrific there. As a redshirt freshman in 2020, he broke out with 2,500 yards and 26 touchdowns. Last year, he had 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns, and so far this year, he has 2,314 yards with 21 touchdowns and just 1 pick. In 3 years of starting, he only has 7 total interceptions, and combine that with a lot of wins, a lot of touchdowns, and a lot of yards, and his accuracy, McCall is likely going to be an NFL player, and it's unfortunate to see him get hurt. It looks like the backup is going to be Bryce Carpenter, and I'm curious to see if Chadwell can strike gold with 2 under-the-radar high school quarterbacks. We'll have to wait and see, but this is unfortunate news with McCall. So yeah, in today's video we talked about 2 big-time flips, a coach that was fired, a college that tried to make a program but failed, and then obviously a big-time injury. But let me know what you think. If you enjoy this series, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment. Let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I could cover next. Subscribe if you're new, and check out all other videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.